If you've received a statutory demand, here's what you need to do next. You're probably very worried and concerned and unsure about what to do next. But don't worry, over the next couple of minutes, I'm going to talk you through exactly what you must do step by step and the best ways to resolve this issue. First of all, it's imperative to know the date that you were served that statutory demand. Not the date that's on the document, but the date that it was actually hand-delivered and given to you by what's called a service processor. Now, a service processor is somebody that has, one of those body cams on. We've all watched the program, You've Been Served, so we know what that looks like, okay? So as soon as somebody serves that document to you, collate the date and keep that safe, because you've only got a strict 18 days from the date you received that statutory demand to put a defence in, to set aside the application, to negotiate a payment plan structure with the creditor, or to repay the debt in full, which I'm sure you're in this position for a reason, so that probably isn't likely to happen. Failing to respond to this strict 18-day deadline as a statutory demand could have serious consequences against you personally, i.e. bankruptcy, or against your limited company for the likes of a winding up petition, which of course could then end up in the likes of administration or liquidation for your limited company, which of course could trigger many other different issues that could happen. So one of the first things you should do when you receive the statutory demand are check all the details on it are correct, such as your name, the date, the address, and of course the debt amount that the creditor is actually pursuing you for. Look out for any discrepancies, because these could be key for getting your statutory demand set aside. Also, verify that the statutory demand was served correctly. It must be served by a service processor, or at least had 2 or 3 attempts to serve you directly, whereby they failed and they had to do what's called a substituted service via post or via email. Consider whether you genuinely owe the debt to start with. So did you sign a contract with that creditor? Did you make an agreement with that creditor? Have you borrowed funds from that creditor? Are 3 questions that you need to ask yourself. If you dispute the debt or have a counterclaim against the creditor that's pursuing you, there could be fair grounds to have the statutory demand set aside. However, you must be certain of these and have a strong defence in order to put forward to set aside the application. You can't just put in a set aside application for the sake of it, because this will incur further costs for the creditor, so you must be certain on the defence that you'll be putting forward. One of the most important things to do would be to speak with a specialist, such as ourselves. At Bell & Company, we specialise in insolvencies, whether it's on a business level or personal level, or both. You don't want to be wasting time or money trying to set aside or defend the application when you don't have strong enough grounds to do so. So a strong negotiation with substantiation and presented in a salient way can sometimes be your best option to avoid these types of insolvency measures and achieve a favourable outcome for all parties involved, keeping costs to a minimum. If you cannot afford to repay this debt, then the only other options you have available, accept the bankruptcy or negotiate some sort of payment plan proposal or full and final negotiation with the creditor, which again is something that we specialise on a day-to-day basis. Receiving a statutory demand is serious, but you do have options available. Whatever you do, do not let that 18-day time lapse. Make sure that you attack this as the date that you receive that statutory demand so that you have the best possible chance of getting what you want or a favourable outcome for all parties involved. If you have received a statutory demand today, get in contact with us as soon as possible so that we can hold a free consultation to review your options available and handhold you through this process before it's too late.